The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests are their own, and their appearance on the program do not imply any endorsement or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voice.
Be a 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 voice.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.
Good morning and welcome to Be a Voice at Wisconsin Voices. It's Tuesday. I'm sleepy, y'all. I'm just sleepy. I'll tell you, I had this day yesterday where I worked from home. And I was cracking. Have you ever had that day where you
Get everything done.
right, ideas are coming in, making connections, doing some reports, doing some stuff, reimagining what Wisconsin Voices is. Because you remember a couple years ago, in December of 2022, we were kind of on a lull, and I took some vacation time at the end of December. And I was like, we need to define who Wisconsin Voices is. We need to define who we are, what we're doing. And I was sitting there and I was looking at the mission statement and the three pillars came to me then. And even though it was part of our mission, I'm not going to say that I just came up with this brilliant idea. I wanted to figure out how to message it. And I remember, Latoya, remember when I came in January, we got three pillars: protect democracy, build community, and teach advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so yesterday we were, I was talking to Angelique, which is our data and field director. And we have so many programs within that. How do we break those out? I mean, how do you break it out between election year and a less election year? I don't want to call them non-election years because we always have an election in April.
You still got building community.
Right. So
And teaching advocacy.
Yeah.
right. So we were thinking our Civics 101 class, which you can sign up for on our website, WisconsinVoices.org. I like that one.
Good boy to me.
But here it's different. Like an off election year, I'll call it for sake of understanding, an off election year, we talk about who our electeds are, what they do, how they do it.
Right.
In an election year, we're telling you who's on the ballot. So it is a voter education versus civic education, even though it's all under the umbrella of Civics 101.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was on it. And then I had to go to my common council meeting yesterday. And it's always interesting.
God imagine so.
Yeah. You know what? I am so blessed about the city of Glendale Common Council because we take care of business. We ask questions beforehand when we get our agendas. You know, if we have a bunch of information we don't understand, we'll call the city administrator and say, look, explain this to me. And then if it's something that we believe should be explained to the community, or it's not just us not understanding something, but it's a community, then we'll bring it up in the meeting so everybody can hear it. But some of these meetings around the city, they be going 4 or 5 hours, going until 11 or 12. I think our longest meeting, and that was a budget meeting, I think we went till 10 o'clock 1 or 2 times. And I've been an alderman. I'm finishing up my 7th year. Yesterday it was like an hour and a half. We, got a new person. We did some zoning stuff. We did some other stuff. And our city works, our council works different than the city of Milwaukee because they're a tier 1 city and we're a tier 3 city, but it's still a city. But it's just all those things that I look at and I'm thinking about the elections. And I hear so many people talk about, the elected officials, they ain't doing nothing. And I spend a lot of time thinking about what needs to be done for my district, how it needs to be done. I get full disclosure. When I first got into my office, we got $2,700 a year. So that roughly about 140, 150 after taxes. And then I think maybe 3-4 years ago, the city administrator brought it to the council that we would increase it to, I think it's $7,400 a year, which is roughly $400 a month or after taxes. Then I added how much time I spend either talking to constituents, looking at stuff, and I added it up last year for the hours that I worked, and I'm missing some hours. I was paid $2.57 per hour.
Man.
But I do it because I like it.
That's it.
And then I hear other people say, well, you know what? You should do it for the love of the community. And when I was on the school board for 7 years. We got $600 a year. A year. So that was like $45 at the end of the month. That was my gas money. I'm like, hey, cool. But my argument there was, I don't
like a
assume-
full-time job.
Right. Don't assume the people who usually said, you should be doing this for the love. I don't see you getting up and doing it. And it also deters people who that $45 may help somebody do daycare. So I have 2 or 3 meetings. If I pay, this daycare person $30 for a couple of hours each, that's her daycare. And then they are able to serve. This is a privilege to serve the community. And I was just, and as we're going into elections, I want 2 things to happen. Number one, elected officials, when you get elected, know that you are blessed to serve and you are a dedicated person to, or you should be a dedicated person to your district and to your community. But on the other hand, citizens who are not, give them some slack. You can hold them accountable. You can absolutely hold them accountable. Make sure they're doing their job. But the ones that are doing their job, give them the respect that they do. There are a lot of people who work in the background. I don't like being on camera. Latoya yells at me all the time. And one guy came into the Common Council and he wanted to take a picture with the Common Council. And I kind of slid in the background. And he yelled at me because he said, but for generations, especially for Black women, you should be seen in that picture. So when history goes, you are the only Black person on this Common Council, and you have been since I think the last time there was a African-American man on that council was in the 80s, early 80s, maybe mid 80s. But then other than that, it wasn't. So as we go into this election cycle, this election year, look at it all in all angles. Look at it that you want somebody who is dedicated to your district, but also somebody who's going to appreciate that you voted for them. Supreme Umakunde, I do take something from him that he said once when he was running. This is a job application. And somebody else could have said it, but I remember him saying it. And every year, for city alderman, I have a 2-year contract. They do a review between January and April of the election day, and they decide if I'm going to stay or if I'm going to go. That is as simple as that. This is a job that I audition for every 2 years. And they can fire me after a year if I mess up with a recall. So it's still not a guaranteed 2 years. So I want people to look at these elections, really pay attention. Find the person that you feel is going to best serve you. And that is the key. Best serve you, not an agenda, not what they want. The other thing I say as I go through this election cycle is you are putting somebody in office that you feel is going to make the best decisions for you.
Right.
And if there's a 50-50 split on how people vote or how the community wants to go, you are saying, hey, I'm going to let you use your best judgment. You usually have more information than I do. I'm going to let you make your best judgment. But we really need to pay attention who's going to be the judge.
Right.
Who are you, when it's a 50-50 split and they have to make a decision, the person that I want in office is the person that I have researched, trusted, know what they're standing. That's why we have all these candidates here. That's why you can go look at what their stances are on their website. You can go and look at any of that on their website or their Facebook pages. But we want to see what the character of the people are. What is your, what do you do? Who makes you up? 414-444-5250. If you're calling in, discussion. I mean, this is something that is really, it's one of those things that make you think, especially as we go in an election. Hey, Joe, got a question for you.
I might have an answer.
When is early voting starting?
Early voting starts next week, March 19th.
Last Tuesday.
That's going to
One
be
week
1 week from today. And it's going to run through March 30th. And then the election is on April 2nd.
And when can people register to vote?
You can register to vote right at the poll on election day.
And you can register right now.
You can register right now, yeah. www.myvote.wi.gov.
And the thing is, there is a blackout time, so you really want to register. You can register at any polling places and different things like that, but you really want to make sure that you are prepared.
Right.
Because I remember we talked about previously the alderman, I think they're called alderman, city of Wauwatosa, yes, alderman, a 1-by-1 provisional vote. And that provisional vote is somebody voted, they didn't have their exact paperwork, so they had to come back at a later date, which is usually the next day, bring whatever essential paperwork they need to show that they are able and eligible to vote, and voted. And so that their vote was count. But that meant that they had to take some time to go home, go do this, go do that. And they did it. That man would not have won if it wasn't for that one provisional vote.
Right. And it made history too.
Talk about every vote counting.
Every vote count. I be trying, I think I did a TikTok when Jada, my daughter Jada, her first voting day. We went as a family and she was so excited. I'm 18, I can vote, and she was excited about doing this civic duty. Did you raise your kids to, like my grandmother used to take us to go vote, and I remember the voting booths were those ones with the curtain, and it was a big, and then you had to click, and then you had to click whatever you did, and then there was this big rod that you had to pull to make sure that your vote counted. You pulled the rod, and then you put it back, and then you went. But that was exciting. Can we go vote today? No, we don't vote every day, and this was my grandmother, Ella Mae Lucas, and she would wear her high heels up until the day she passed away. I don't know, I can't wear heels, and she was in her 80s, right? But we would walk down to Atkinson Library right here, because I grew up around on 21st and Atkinson, and to go vote. Did your parents
Yes, no doubt, no doubt. My mom, my dad, he voted first time for Obama, but my mom.
And that was the case for a lot of people.
Yeah. And he's from Mississippi, so you can honestly say what they learned was different. But we got a caller. Let's
see. Hello, caller. Oh, well, we're gonna have to wait until Debo come back because
hello, caller.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Well, we'll wait until he come back. Just hold on 1 second.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go. We can hear you now.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I wasn't hearing you over the phone, but I was hearing you over the radio.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you on the phone, but yeah. Well, good morning anyway.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to all. Tyrone W. speaking. I like what the young lady said about Premier, Mr. Amakunde. That's wonderful. You know, I'm stuck with my alderman, but to the people that's in the studio, I'm kind of between and betwixt, you know, on a couple of different ways I want to vote here because I voted for Mr. Chairman Spencer the first time to get him in. Now, all the things that's taking place down there behind the scenes, we only get so much in the news and all that.
Right.
He needs to come to us to help us understand, since he's been in, what's changed, even all the allegations against him and everything. What's changed? What's made him a better person to deserve my vote again, and what we can look forward to moving forward, as you know. And that's only on Mr. Chairman Spencer. There's other people I'm kind of straddling the fence for on the ballot, but that's one. But others. But I just wanted to. He needs to come out and talk to the people. You know, I haven't seen the man yet since I voted for him. You know.
Well, I did, and we have sent an invite to him to appear on our show.
Wonderful.
Every single person that is on the ballot got an email from me personally. I put their email in personally.
Yes, ma'am.
And sent it. We have, I think there's out of all the people that are on the Milwaukee ballot, let me make it clear, the county, Milwaukee County, and the alderman. And then anything that has to do with county and city that is other than alderman or supervisor.
Well, wonderful. Well, I would love to.
And they are coming. There's only maybe 3 that are not, but between now and April 1st, we will have more guests on. But today was just one of those days that we need to kind of sit back and say, what are we trying to listen to? What are we trying to hear?
Well, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, I still, I mean, you know, there's the ads and things like that, but I still haven't met the man, and I mean, he has knocked on my door. I haven't talked with him, you know. So I mean, and I know he's busy down there. So I mean, I've called a couple of times, but they don't pick up the phone down there like they should. You know, him and others as well. But I mean, I just need to hear from the man to understand why does he require and deserve my vote the second time there, and I haven't quite even met him yet. So, but anyway, I don't want to suck all the hair off the show, but just work with that one for a while, and we'll see. I'll be listening to see if I can hear what he's got to say then.
Thank you so much. And hopefully he's listening and he hears you.
But that is one of the things. It's hard to meet individuals individually, but you have, community things you can do. You can go to, neighborhood, watches or, neighborhood meetings. There's things, but one of the things that I try to do is do doors all year round. I have a set way I do doors. I hit a certain part in, early spring. I hit a certain part in summer. I hit a certain on a year that I'm not on the ballot. When I'm on the ballot, I'm in the snow. It's cold and it's January, but I like being on the ballot in April because, get a lot of stuff done. But those are the things that maybe that's what you tell your elected official. You know what? I'm going to vote for you, but if I don't see you in the community, I'm going to rethink it. Just let them know what you expect. I think, and that is the key. And then
you got to stand on it too.
Right.
You got to stand on it. So like now, if he don't hear from him by the election, you wouldn't receive my vote.
Well, we will be back with Be a Voice, Wisconsin Voices. Call in 414-444-5250. WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
Catch Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio, every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. as we focus on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org. Wisconsin Voices 3 pillars: protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, building community.
No, it ain't. I smell that. What is that? That.
It's a mist over there.
Oh, it smells good. Mr. Debo, I just wanna talk to you for a minute,
Okay,
just
go ahead.
so we can hear your voice, because I listen to you on Saturdays.
Smooth melodic voice.
So Keon got fans.
That pillow talk.
And I remember Keon got fans, and his fans will come. Do you got any fans?
I don't know. I've been doing this a little over 20 years, so
You gotta have some fans.
I'm sure you do.
Did you see him? I probably do. Yeah, he just can't see him, but his chest just got out a little bit. Oh yeah, I forgot. I always forget that we're on camera sometime. All right, back to the business at hand, which is the election. Let's step aside from the people who are on the ballot and talk about their referendums that are on. We'll get into the state ones, at another time, because I'm still trying to decipher that one. And I mean, I look at these all the time. I sure do miss Senator Taylor at this moment, because what I would have done is called my senator and said, okay, can you explain these to me in layman's terms? And she would usually break it down, not telling me who to vote for or how to vote on the referendum, but saying, how does it affect my community? How does it affect what we're doing? But that's an open sea right now. But I'm going to call her office, because I know her office will tell me as well, because they're still doing the work. I just, it was a little bit late. But the Milwaukee anybody who is in the Milwaukee Public School District has a question on the ballot, and it's Milwaukee Public School District exceed revenue limit referendum. I'm going to read it and then we'll talk about it. Shall the Milwaukee Public School, Milwaukee and Washington County, Wisconsin, be authorized to exceed the revenue limit specific in sections 121.91 Wisconsin statute by $140 million for the 2024-2025 school year, by an additional $51 million for the 2025-2026 school year, by an additional $47 million for the 2026-2027 school year, and by an additional $14 million, for a total of $252 million for the 2027-2028 school year, and thereafter for the reoccurring purpose of sustaining educational programming, including offering career and technical education programs, attracting and retaining certified educators, and further improving arts, music, physical education, and language programs. And that's a yes or a no question.
Yes, and should they get a raise?
See, that's not the purpose of this. See, everybody thinks referendums are about raises. It is and it isn't. It doesn't necessarily. Now, I do have to say I've dealt with referendum before, and I think this time MPS has a really good resource on their website. it breaks it down a little bit. It talks about, and I'm going to be referring to that website, so don't think I'm just brilliant and I know, all this stuff, but I'm just going to talk um, about, they tell you what the purpose of the referendum is, and then explain what levy limits are. And this, I would love for people to, I'm going to read exactly because this is worded so beautifully. In 1993, the Wisconsin legislature instituted a limit on the revenue a district is entitled to receive each year for general state aid and local tax levies. The revenue limit for the district indicates the maximum amount that a district can receive through a combination of state aid, general state aid, and local tax levy. The revenue limit caps the district's ability to fill the gaps in needed funding through additional tax levy. A school district can exceed the limit through a voter-approved referendum. So what that means is the state I think it was in 2009, I believe it was in 2009, kept how much between state dollars and local dollars you can use. So here's how this works. So the state tells you the state says this is how much money you're going to get. You want to put your levy limit up to hit that threshold. And that's how you get your how much you pay for local taxes. The problem is it hasn't been adjusted for inflation. It hasn't been adjusted for increased wages, because I really hate where people get upset about a teacher wanting a raise. But don't you want a raise?
I do too, because if they knew that education is the backbone of our society, if you really look at it, each ethnicity have kids in that age group. And if you don't have a proper education for your children, like BIPOC communities, they're competing with the average child of any other race. And if they don't have the quality education, then they're going to be, that's why we are always ask people, look at people like why do African American communities, I say black, I'm black. Why do black communities have low education rates, high dropout, low in the job fields? Because if we are not giving our children a proper education, then they're not going to be able to compete with other ethnicities. And so I think that's no brainer that we should really care about making sure our schools and our teachers.
Well, and again, everybody goes to teachers need a raise. Yes, they need a quality raise, just like everybody else. But a lot of this, and especially for this referendum, they break it down to how much money each will get. Let's take our caller. We have a caller, and let's see what they have to say, and then we'll get back to this discussion.
Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I was reading, they have the referendum.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, when they have the referendum, can you hear me now?
Yes, Jax.
The referendum committee, you have to give it up. Okay, I know that it's critical for our schools to be up to par. And I also know you have struggling females that are saying the taxes are going to pay it if we vote yes to this, right?
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. No, I hear you. You said people are saying their taxes are going to go up. They're homeowners. Yes, I understand.
Right. You know what I think is nothing? I think everybody, because some of us, we're downsizing and we're no longer paying property tax.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, for years, I was paying it, and my kids is not at school, it's still use it.
Oh, you're paying property taxes, whether it be rent, when your rent goes up, or everybody is paying some kind of property tax. It's just through your rent, or if you're a homeowner, so you still paying.
But I think what you're trying to get at is they always put it on the property tax owners, right? She wants to see a solution like businesses have to get a raise in their taxes or something. And what she's saying is every time something goes up, it's on just mainly property.
It
taxes.
is on business property as well. This is how much. This is how much this is. I just want to give you a little bit of information from their website. It is will be for the first year, it will be $216 more per $100,000 of the value. So what that is, if your house is worth $100,000, you'll be paying about $216. If it's $200,000, you'll be paying $432.
Okay.
I'm going to read this very specifically off of their website. The question, they have frequently asked questions, and the question that is asked, if the revenue increase gets phased in over 4 years, will my property taxes continue to go up each year due to this referendum? And according to the MPS website, it says no. There should be only a one-time increase in property taxes if the referendum passed. As an example, if you own a home that is assessed value of $100,000, the estimated increase in property taxes will be $216 in the first year if the referendum passes by voters. No additional increase will be associated with the referendum based on the design of the phase-in. Because the revenue limit is a combination of local property tax and state aid, MPS will receive additional state aid to offset the revenue increased in years 2 through 4. The goal is to maximize the resources available to your children. So what that means is they're taking it all in one time, and then they'll be able to get increases from the state. So it kind of maximizes everything.
Thank you so much for clearing that up, because I heard a commercial that said they didn't know what they're going to be spending money on, which is misleading and which is not fair.
And
it's not.
Go ahead.
It's not fair to our children to make them feel like they're going to an inferior school when we don't put that in their money. They're going to be asked every day, why am I getting up going to this school? If it's failing, it's not going to advance you.
Right.
Them going and doing the best that they can. And why would I want to stop someone else from getting a raise? When I was working, I wanted a raise.
Right.
So I think it should be fair to everyone. And I think they should vote yes for that referendum. Thank you so much for clearing that up and taking the time to read it.
No problem.
Thank you, ma'am. As we go on, I want to address the issue, and everything I'm saying is what MPS has said. So you can hold the school board accountable because it's right in black and white how they say they're going to spend the funds and how they're going to spend it. This is how you hold your elected accountable. Now you look at if this passes, then you go to the board meetings, ask the questions, go to the budget hearing and see where they're spending it at. According to them, this is the question. There's two things that I want to address. What has MPS been doing to reduce costs now? So before this referendum, they say for every dollar MPS receives, 94 cents is spent in the classroom. Now that's a little bit, I just want to say what constitute in the classroom. That does constitute teacher salary and her benefits. Because that's part of what the classroom is. It does go to tech and tools that they may need. And they also go with books and all that stuff. A lot of people think, oh, they're going to spend $94 on books and educational materials. That's not necessarily it. It's just saying the other 6 cents that goes to administrative costs. So they're saying that every 94 cents of each dollar is going to be directed to educating that particular child. There is there's a question here that says, how will this funding be spent? Is this a referendum to increase wages of teachers and administrators? This is how they respond to that. If passed, the funds would address a budget shortfall that is result of years of underfunded by the state of Wisconsin. The funds would allow the district to avoid cutting the staff and helping to maintain programs such as career and technical education programs, art, music, physical education, and language programs. All the budget allocations are approved by the elected members of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors after public input. So these referendum, I think this is the second one that they had. They had one, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020, I think. I'm not mistaken, but I think it was 2020. And then this is their second one. I know in the school district that I live in, which is the Nicolay School District, they did 2 back to back, and I'm talking about $420 million. The other one was something else because they needed to do a whole infrastructure. I know Shorewood's had a huge referendum because they needed to fix up their buildings and schools and stuff. It's just part of what we do or how we do it. You decide what the value of your school district is. If you can vote yes or no, but that is up to you. I will not tell you how to do it or what to do because that is your democratic choice. But don't complain when gym is cut, because some schools will say, even though I remember when all right, all of us are probably the same age. How old are you, Debo? Are you in a good age? You might remember this back in the 80s. I had gym 2 or 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. They made sure that you exercised, you went outside, mm-hmm. you did what you had to do. I know schools who have completely taken out the gym program and have said, we are putting extracurriculars in so you can play basketball after school, or you can, do soccer or whatever mm-hmm. it is.
Some of them went to pay to play for those extracurriculars also,
right.
where you have to actually pay a couple $100 for your kid to play basketball or football or whatever. So
right. Mm-hmm. I remember when in middle school, we had a quarter. Each quarter was something that was a life hack. So I remember having shot. So I do know how to cut a piece of wood. I do know how to build how many of y'all made those ashtrays?
Of course.
Yes.
We made those. Then we had home ec. And you learned how to measure, mm-hmm. which cup do you use for liquid? What cup do you use for water? And you could be able to, even if you couldn't cook, if you could follow a recipe, you could feed yourself. Mm-hmm. In home ec, we boys and girls learned how to sew, how to mend just their pants or something. And then I think there was the last class, we had 2 more classes, which was art
and music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And those are all things we appreciate. But people have put such an emphasis on the math, reading, writing, science. They don't understand that
some people got different gifts.
Right. They got different gifts, but it also helps stimulate the mind. You have to use math in shop.
Be a well-rounded individual.
You have to use math in home ec. You have to measure when you're doing sewing classes. And then even when you're doing creative things like art, reading, being able to interpret stuff will maybe come out in your art. Mm-hmm. So all these things are so special, so important.
Tamika, a lot of times though, those programs are the ones that get cut first.
Exactly.
It's those programs that are so beneficial, like art and music and things that were, like you said, really spawn the imagination. And
just take a look at this expression.
Yeah.
Right.
Good word.
So that aspect of it is lost somewhere, and a lot of times they're acting out in other ways because they have no other way to express themselves
right
through their ability. I might not be the greatest at basketball or football, but I might be one heck of an artist.
Right.
I might naturally be able to play a piano without being able to know how to read it. So those other aspects are being lost in my ability to express and become, a better me, because the programs are not there.
Right.
But art isn't just the art is not just about drawing. You're an artist when you put music together. There are people who dance. Those are artists. Those are comedians are artists. These people, I mean, how many times
technicians?
They're artists. All these people are artists, and they have some component of reading, writing, arithmetic in it. You don't have to know the chemicals, the formulas, all that stuff. Let's take our caller.
Caller, go ahead. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, and yourself, ma'am?
I'm good. She had Deeper on the whole crew as well.
Oh, Devo got a fan.
Okay. I'm going to get out there too in fresh air. My question is, I have two questions. It won't take you long. I live in District 7, and I don't know who is I think Khalid Rain was my last alderman. I never saw him. Never. Only the first day, and that was it. And I don't think he's running EA. I hope that my next alderman is going to be a better person because, Lina, Indiana, we have the CMP in the worst potholes in the world.
Who came out of the primary on that? Was it Kevin Hughes and Randy Jones?
No, I think in the 7th, it's the Jessica Curry and the Adrian Jackson. Those are the two that came out of that primary.
Mm-hmm.
So you have those two to vote for, and I believe both of them will be on our show in the coming weeks.
Good. Okay, I'll be here thinking. Second question is, as a homeowner, as a lot of our people are blind and beyond, you know that a certain amount goes to our schools. I do not mind getting paying taxes out of my school as long as they are protecting our babies by upgrading these schools from asbestos, good water drinking. They're out there now at Depot, putting in pipes and things like that. But I want to know what they're doing with Benjamin Franklin and I guess that we would call Metro High School. Whatever schools they're in our area, as like I said, homeowner, are they doing to make sure that our children, our young people, are not under asbestos and things like that. And upgrade these schools. And that was my concern because they do take money out of our homes to upgrade these schools and to do what they need to do to our taxes. I thank you for the question and I'll just get off and let you guys talk. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. That is something that you have to hold your school board accountable. Maybe we can get them on here so we can ask them questions about what specifically are they looking at to fund when it comes to the maintenance of the school.
Right.
This is something that you want to know. So let's figure out who your representative is and try to get that, information. But that is how we hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after the election, we start we start asking the sitting elected officials to come in. We got another caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I think
you already answered the question for the young lady. She really needs to call her school board director because she'll get a direct answer, or she'll ask her question and leave the message for him or her, because I'm not sure what district she lives in. I live in District 3. I'm in constant contact with my school board director. I want to know, what exactly are you doing? That's that that should be done with all your elected officials. I don't care who it is.
I recognize this voice, and I don't want her calling me, because she gonna get her answers. She is going to make sure you get your answers. I recognize the voice. There's one thing that people I think they may not understand, is that they have a right to call people.
Yes.
Right. They don't hear
And
from
I'm
you.
not sure if there's a fear in all of that, because I asked a young lady, she was asking me, well, how do I get to the mayor? I said, you call the city hall. And she thought it was a number that she had to look up. No, you call 286-2221, and you may not directly talk to him, but you're going to talk to his legislative person. So my thing is, I don't, all your avenues go to your, whoever it is, county supervisor, anybody. I'm not sure if people are clear about who they need to be in touch with. First, call your school board director and ask, what is this all about? How does this affect me? Those are the questions that, that people need to ask. I think that's a general question. That's it's basic, and it don't take a scientist to figure that one out. But I wish more people would, be in touch with all their legislative people.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, young lady. I appreciate that. Yeah, she can call the school board director. I don't know who he is. I'm in District 3. She can call the school board and ask them at the main line, and they'll connect her to who it is. Yeah.
Call the main line, then just say, hey, this is my address. Who is my representative? This is Be a Voice, Wisconsin Voices. We'll be right back.
Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
The 3 pillars of Wisconsin Voices are protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, and building community. Learn more about Wisconsin Voices and our partners at wisconsinvoices.org. Stay up to date on our community events page and get involved by visiting our donation page.
All right, we are back for our last little segment. Latoya, stop messing with the drivers on camera. This, if you've ever been in the,
that's what I'm saying, people. I'm like, hold on, they bagging in the driveway like I'm parking here.
And here's the thing: if you
I'm straightening up and everything.
If you come into the WNOV studios, you see a lot. As you're on the radio, we're listening, but you're looking out the window, you see some of everything on these streets.
Yes.
I am, and the thing is, I love all of it. This is who we are. I love the fact that I love Milwaukee. I love my people. I can talk about them, but if anybody else talk about them, I'm going to have an issue. Don't be talking about my people. We have millionaires. We have the least of these, the ones that really need, but we have some of everything in our hoods, in our neighborhoods, in our cities. We just have to learn to start taking care of each other
and respecting one another.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that, we talk about crime is so high. Why?
Tempers.
Maybe it's tempers. Maybe it's because the economic opportunities are not quite where they should be.
Or educational opportunities.
I gotta be devil advocate with that. Because think about it. We grew up, we struggled. But we didn't just make all those irrational decisions. I got a nephew that got shot in the head because somebody got bumped.
And this is
Somebody literally got bumped.
But
Nothing else.
But I always go back. What happened that at the minutes before? Why do people make decisions? We don't know.
In there after hours.
It does. I mean, but I'm just saying, you don't know what the struggles is. And I'm not making excuses for the shooter, but I'm just saying in general.
I know him. I know him.
No.
He was actually one of his best friends.
But I'm saying in general.
He was mad. He had the little people complex.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying in general, there are traumas that people have in their lives. It might just come up at that exact moment.
Mm-hmm.
It could. We don't know what people experience. I'm a pretty level-headed, even keel person, but people know me and they will say I have a resting, not so nice face, even though I just might be looking at somebody. It's perception. Stop, and this is my biggest thing, stop looking at people and assuming you know what they think.
Or what they've been through.
Because a lot of times I'll be walking down and my daughter used to say, "Ma, why you look mad?" Girl, I'm just concentrating. I'm not mad. I'm just concentrating. I'm thinking about something and maybe that's the face I'm looking. Or like you gave me an attitude look. No, they might be trying to say, "Oh my God, how am I going to feed my baby today? This is so bad. I just lost my job." Whatever it is, we just have to be more conscious.
There's a lot of different things with that. You think about it, road rage. You don't even look at a person. You just be, and then it'd be so funny because when people get so upset and they ride past them, it'd be a little old person like,
well,
you have to laugh at yourself. Like, you just got all that mad.
When you said people, you were talking about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, a lot of times I'll be wanting to go somewhere, especially when we do road rage. I'll be wanting to go somewhere. I'm not mad at the person in front of me, but I'm just like, I need to hurry up.
I need to go.
You're not necessarily them. And sometimes I catch myself, oops, I accidentally, cut somebody off. Now I do try to wave, but if they get an attitude, then all of a sudden I'm just like, well, I said, okay, I was trying to say something, but if you want to be like that, and then I have to catch myself.
Yeah.
And we have to catch ourselves because we don't want to be reactionary.
Right.
The one thing I try to do is I try not to. Now, I am human. It doesn't work, but I try not to let other people affect how I'm feeling at that time.
Being in control of your emotions.
I try. Now, I'm 52 and I'm still working on that, but
How did you want to repeat that?
What'd you say?
What did you say? You say you what?
52.
Oh.
Chill, man.
Just checking.
Oh, I know I'm old. I'm gonna go to the doctor today because my heel hurts. But all these things we love our community. We love what we do. I'm gonna wrap it up and say, going back to what we were talking about, or what I was originally talking about Wisconsin Voices and what we're doing. We're trying to plan some big events this summer. We want our community to get involved, have a good old time. I know that y'all all will be at our cookout in July. We're doing some kickoffs for getting out the vote and making sure people register to vote. We have a lot of things going on, so please go to our website, wisconsinvoices.org.
The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM, Courier Communications, Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests are their own, and their appearance on the program do not imply any endorsement or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.